Okay, hi everybody, welcome. We're here today with ActivTrades, delighted to be with our partners, and we've got quite a lot to show you today. I'm going to bring in my business partner, Richard Bednall, who's the Chief Marketing Officer, to set everything up, and we'll look forward to a great event today. Over to you, Richard.
Okay, I think hopefully you can all hear me. Can you just please just put Y in the chat just to confirm that you can hear us and we're all live?
Yep, everyone can say
right, yes. Yep. All right, so I think we'll start the broadcast. We're recording, aren't we? Yes, we are. Okay, so let's crack on. So good afternoon and thank you for joining us for today's live stream event. And as Gavin said, it's jointly hosted by TradeGuider and ActivTrades, who are our Forex brokerage partner. Now, this is the second event in our series of bi-monthly sessions. And today we're going to focus on how the markets really tick. So what moves the markets and why? How do winners win so consistently? And what do they do that's different? Why do the markets move in the opposite direction to what your technical analysis tools will tell you? Well, in this session, we're happy to provide some of the answers to those questions and other similar ones. Now, my name is Richard Bednall, and I'm the Chief Marketing Officer for TradeGuider. And with me here today is CEO Gavin Holmes, and from ActivTrades, we have Vikesh Burhit. So Vikesh, before we get into the details of today's content, are there any updates or information that you want to share today?
Hi, Richard. Welcome, everyone. Thanks for the quick intro. Well, I'd like to share that ActivTrades will be attending quite a few trade fairs in the coming months. So please do watch out for emails and information you'll get about the upcoming trade fairs, and everyone's obviously welcome to join us and visit us and meet us in person as well. We'll be sending out ticket codes for those events shortly. Thank you.
Okay, thanks for that, Vikesh. So, what moves the markets? That's the first question. Well, in 2 words, it's smart money. They're the hedge funds, trading syndicates, and the prop firms out there. They're the insiders, as we call them, and their one aim is to wrong foot traders so that they can win. Remember, the market needs losers, lots of them, so that the insiders can win. The concept's relatively simple. Smart money buy at the bottom of the market, and then they sell at the top. And in between, they move the price up and down through manipulation. They've developed a number of ways to do this through the media, press, and market observers. There have been numerous indications and examples of this practice, and I want to bring in Gavin, who's going to show some examples of market manipulation in action. Gavin, do you want to take us through some examples? You might also want to take the screen.
Yep. All right, everybody, hi, welcome, and to all of you around the world. A very big sign up. It's nice to see everyone here. Thanks to ActivTrades for putting this on. Let me give you we've only got about 45 minutes, so I'm just going to give you a very brief overview because there's lots of information you can go and follow up on. Yeah, hello, Sarang. Nice to see you, and hello, all the other customers in here and investors. Everybody, we've had a big sign up for this. I know a lot of you are going to view this on YouTube, which is absolutely fine. Let me start by saying, my name is Gavin Holmes. I'm the author of a book called Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money, which has sold, hundreds of thousands of copies around the world. It's in different languages now. And I wrote that book in 2011, and it was published in 2012. And since then, it's changed my life, really, because I'm an ex-police officer. Many of you know that. And I left the police, and fortunately, I'm glad I did. I wouldn't want to be a policeman now. Far too dangerous. But the markets, let me just be very clear on a few things before we get going. Number one, whilst I'm contrarian, I don't believe in conspiracy theories as such. Now, when I talk about market manipulation today, I'm going to treat you as the jury. And I'm just the officer, and my name happens to be Holmes, H-O-L-M-E-S, like Sherlock, giving you the evidence, okay? And that's really how I treat all my presentations, because a lot of you will be new, a lot of you will be regulars, some of you will have not seen the stuff I'm going to show you today, some of you will have read my book, some of you will not have read my book. In fact, let me ask that question first of all. How many of you here, just type in yes or no, have read my book, Trading in the Shadow of the Smart Money, which is my first book? and I'm just completing my third right now, but just type in yes or no, because I just like to, it'd be very helpful for me to see how many people actually, please do contribute, because it'll help me to tailor this presentation to give you the knowledge that you need. And if you haven't got it, it's on Amazon.com. So you can just go to Amazon.co.uk, Amazon.com, type in my name, Gavin space HOLMES, and you'll find it. Okay, so some of you have, some of you haven't. Great, that's good to see. So what is the subject of today's webinar? Well, it's about, are the markets rigged? Now, I'm going to ask you all a question, and I'll ask you it first before I go to it. Do you all think that the markets can or are rigged? Yes or no? Just type that in. Do you all think that the markets are or can be rigged in the favor of big money, I should say? What do you think? And I'll just answer that question right up front so we can get, and please do type in, because this really does. Okay, well, a couple of people said definitely. It's, right, okay. All right. Yep, it is being recorded, Vincent. Yep, sure thing. Okay, right, loads of people typing in. The majority, in fact, everyone. There's no one said no. But what does that mean for you? Because this seminar is about you. It's not about trying to frighten you and terrify you and, oh my goodness, I can't trade in these markets because they're all manipulated. But it doesn't work that way. There's a few things we're going to teach you today which prove beyond reasonable doubt, in my opinion, that's a police term, that the markets can be rigged, but not always. But certainly when they are, the news is very important. This is a great example here of, this is on Monday morning, and this is on a website called marketmanipulation.org, which I highly recommend you go and look at. So if you don't believe this and you're saying, well, this is absolute rubbish, Gavin, you're talking rubbish, then go and look at the evidence, because it's all here. There's plenty of examples of how markets are rigged. In fact, I did actually go and visit many years ago the office of Jim Cramer, and that was the street.com, and we were doing some stuff, and I listened to his interview about, he said, I love his words in the interview. He said, it's a fun and lucrative game, right? Well, is it a game? Well, not for people on the losing end. And what ActivTrades want, and what TradeGuider wants, and Trade to Win.
Forex trade alert.
Well, I'm getting alerts coming in now, typical. But what we want to do is put you on the right end of the trading spectrum, so you understand what the markets are actually doing. Now, to start with, we'll talk about the website. Now, it's very straightforward. I mean, we can type it in. Perhaps, Richard, you could type that in. It's marketmanipulation.org, O-R-G. Okay, and in it, you can see we've got videos, articles, a resource area. I highly recommend you go there and have a look, just to open your mind. You see, your mind is like a parachute. It's best used when open. So life in general can be very confusing. We get lots of misinformation. And I'm going to show you that that is very much used by smart people or smart money, and they know exactly how you think. Now, my job or my mission, and the mission of ActivTrades, TradeGuider, Trade to Win, is to keep your mind nice and open, but to give you the information you need to succeed, because you can succeed at this. We've been around for 35 years. I changed my whole career path from what I thought I was going to be doing when I left school to what I'm now doing. And I've got live events coming up, just like we've got multiple opportunities to go and speak in different countries right now at TradeGuider, and I've been invited to speak at the CME exchange in Chicago, Singapore, Hong Kong, and then hopefully now India. And we're just working on those projects right now, and I'm sure we'll be talking in detail with ActivTrades about those opportunities. But the reason that we've got this, and this site is so interesting, is it sets the scene. But I could spend hours going through all these articles with you, but we don't have time. They're all on that site. It's marketmanipulation.org. It's worth a view. It shows you how the markets work. But ultimately, what we're going to talk about today is how you can be profitable if And there's no guarantees. We didn't read the disclaimer at the beginning, so I'm going to just tell you the disclaimer. It's on tradeguider.com. But trading options, futures, CFDs, all of these different intros, cryptocurrency, which I trade, it involves substantial risk of loss. It's not suitable for all investors. Don't risk money you cannot afford to lose. I know this is so important because when we are looking at markets, past performance is actually not a really good guide of future performance. And yet, what's the first question I'm asked when I do a demo of our Smart Center software or our Trade to Win software? How much money can I make, Gavin, next week, next month? And the truthful answer is, I don't know. Now, some people will tell you, oh, 500%, you could double your account. That's rubbish. Okay, don't take, if you ever hear that, you're being conned. The fact of the market is it's down to you. Okay, we give you the tools, we give you the instruction, we give you the brokerage firm that we're going to use. And in our case here, ActivTrades, we trade with Forex, but we're going to give you the instruction and say, these are the rules that you should follow. We want to teach you to fish. We don't want to throw you fish. And Richard and I, my business partner, who you heard from earlier, spoke about this. What is our mission? It's to teach you to trade so you, without us there, can actually make money. If you say, well, no, I just want to copy trade. All I want to do is press a button, Gavin, and make money and copy what you do. Well, that's easy. Yeah, that sounds easy. But then if I'm away for 4 weeks on vacation or whatever, then you've got no fish to eat. You're going to starve. So we teach you. How's the smart money used? Well, I'll just give you a couple of quick examples. I mean, this goes back to an old seminar that I did with ActivTrades. I did a live roadshow with ActivTrades a few years ago before the pandemic. And I went back and found the actual presentation I did. And I thought, do you know something? Because we're going to hopefully do some more work with ActivTrades in the future, we'll just show this. So, you know, you've got this world stock markets in turmoil. You hear it all the time. I heard it a few weeks ago about Bitcoin. Everyone's selling Bitcoin. Rubbish. This is what we get, okay? As the market collapses, the panic sellers get out, but the buyers come in. We get green indicators. We've got it in MT5. We've got it in TradingView, which ActivTrades support. We've got it all. And I look back and I thought, do you know something? When I look back, sometimes you look back in history. I'm going to show you some live charts in a minute. The fiscal cliff, we're falling off the cliff and the market goes straight up. Okay, then you get the Greek price problem and you get all of these things going on and it influences your thoughts, as I'm about to show you, because Bitcoin was a classic example. And then you've got this example, which is the one I've used in my book, Trading in the Shadow. If you read chapter 9, before you do anything, read chapter 9. It'll explain exactly what I know and what I can teach you. And it says BP shares plunge. BP shares suffer the biggest one-day fall. Group's market value down 44 billion since rig exploded, 2010, by the way. Group to fight oil spill with containment.
Futures trade alert.
Now, on that day, the day before this was published, Tom Williams, the late Tom Williams, who invented volume spread analysis, he passed in, unfortunately, 2016, had actually rang me in the hotel and said, we're going to buy 5,000 shares in BP. I said, Tom, I'm watching the news. I'm watching Anderson Cooper on CNN. Are you mad? Gavin, he said, look at the daily chart. Back holding, one of our strongest indicators. And this is actually what happened. It began to accumulate. And this is the chart of BP weekly, as we can see. All right, and the market accumulated, it rallied massively. And you can see here, we've got an indicator on the highest volume of the chart, and it went all the way up to £500. In fact, in dollars, it trades on both exchanges. It doubled in value. But look at the volume. That's the key to it. And what happens when news is good? Everyone's happy. Oh, prices are going up. It's going to be brilliant. And then you've got this great story that I told back in 2011, and I did this when I did the event, one of the first events we did at the Chicago Mercantile Exchange. And I showed this and people still didn't believe it. I said, gold's going to the moon. Goldman Sachs, of course, raises the gold price forecasts. Goldman Sachs raises its gold price forecast, citing the fall in US real rates and intensifying sovereign debt issues in both the United States and Europe. We expect gold prices to continue to climb in 2011 and 2012, given the current low level of US real estate interest rate. Okay, this has just happened again, and it's going to keep happening. Okay, that's what we saw at TradeGuider. And this is our old end of day version of the program. We now have it programmed into MT5, MT4, and other platforms. But look at the volume. Okay, that's what we're all about. This is what we teach, volume analysis. The news is good. The analysts say it's going up.
Forex trade alert.
It then rallies, closes off the top, and the next bar closes on the low. How can that be buying in there? We analyze three things: supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. That's what drives markets. The fourth universal law that governs your success is what I call the law of attraction, or the belief system that you have to be successful. Entirely down to you. No one else can change that. I can't influence it. You have to choose and say, right, I tell you what, if I learn that and I do that and I follow the rules, I can be successful. And you can. And that is actually what happened. That's a fact. There's no argument. All right, that's the weekly chart where the buying climax, which is one of our VSA indicators, shows massive volume at point A and a massive sell-off. But the news is good. So what I want to teach you, and I will teach you this because that's my mission, is to be contrarian. Don't worry too much about conspiracies. There's plenty of them. There's loads of them out there right now. Don't worry about those. Learn to make money, be happy, and be successful. And one of the things you do with charting is understand that markets can be rigged. Now, I'm going to go through this very quickly as an example. Now, this, and then I'll hand back to Richard. So this is an example, just one, about gold and silver, probably the two most, well, they're probably not now, but some of the most manipulated instruments by big money. And I love trading them, by the way. I have more fun with these two instruments than anything else. Silver, I was talking to a couple of bankers last week. I think I said this on the last webinar. And I was saying, well, do you know silver since 1980, when the Hunt brothers, you can type that into Google and check what I'm telling you is true. Hunt brothers manipulation silver. Just go and try Forex
trade alert.
You'll see that silver's never gone above $49.96 since 1980. That's absolutely impossible. But it's true. So if you don't believe me, and I hope you don't sometimes, I want you to go and check it all out. Because if, as a detective, I didn't believe anyone. I always go and check the information. Go and check it. Hunt Brothers market manipulation silver. You'll see that silver's never gone above $50 a troy ounce at all. Never got there. And this guy said, that's impossible. Impossible, Gavin. 1980, we're now in 2023. The value of silver's skyrocketed. I said, have you ever looked at a chart of silver? Well, no. I said, well, when I finish this presentation to you, sir, why don't you go and have a look at the chart, go to Google and type it in, and then find out if I'm telling you the truth? That's exactly what he did. Because there was a guy that did the presentation with me years ago in Florida, Andrew Maguire. He used to work for Goldman, and he actually was in the news. Trader blows whistle on gold and silver price manipulation. Well, that's great, because he's telling the public, hey, he wants to be, like I'm trying to tell you, that we can help you. Okay, but he even sent an email, which is here, to the CFTC. And he said, I won't read the whole email, we haven't got time. He said, if the news is bad, employment is worse, it'll have a bullish effect. If the news is good, this will have a massive short position. So it means that they already know in advance what they're going to do. Of course they do. And this is what we saw in TradeGuider in February in 2010, a massive volume spike on the downside. The news was exactly what Maguire said it would be. And our software picked this up. Now we're even cleverer because, as Richard, I'm sure will explain, we've got a smart technology that tracks this. And as soon as it indicates something, it gives you an email. That's the biggest problem I had when I started this business. How do I find the trade? There's so many different instruments to trade. Forex, futures, CFD, stocks, loads. And there it was. And I said, well, I'm looking for something called a Yao Ming bar. Now, I called it Yao Ming because it's an ultra high volume bar. It's the most important thing for you to find. And our software scans thousands, in fact, tens of thousands of instruments to identify the starting bar and then the trigger bar. And I'm about to show you that live. That's Yao Ming. Now, I hope one day to meet him, but he was the tallest player in the NBA. He played for the Houston Astros. Okay, now, if he walked past you in the street, you would know that that's a very tall player. There's no argument, or a tall human being. So that's what we look for. And lo and behold, here we can see Yao Ming steps in here, and we've got this massive bar, massive volume. It's on a down move. Everyone's negative. There's panic selling, but that's where you should be buying. Warren Buffett said, in order to make money in the markets and be profitable, you don't need a high IQ. You know, he said, maybe, I mean, I'm probably about 20, but he said 25 plus. You don't need a high IQ. What you need is discipline and an understanding that you buy on the lows and you sell at the tops. Very true. And that was a shakeout, which I'm about to show you live. Okay, so the markets work on these principles of supply and demand. They have to. They always have. The days of the tulips back in when the Dutch were at a big run on tulips, because they said, well, they're going to be so valuable in a year. And what happened? It collapsed. Of course it did. This is what I call a trigger number, a trigger bar. Now, this is a very old presentation, but it's so relevant today because we programmed all of this into our software. So when the market breaks the trigger bar, it tells you to go long, and I'll show you live. And that's why.
Trade alert.
Okay, so the shakeout is a very clear indication that the market's going to be bullish because the news is terrible. Everyone's literally terrified. They go, oh my God, I went long. Oh no, it's all going down. It's going down. So they panic sell and the professional money buy. I'll show you how to do it because I know how to do it. And I've been doing it for 22 years. Then you get the testing. Now that's a great question. What is a test? It's doing exactly what I'm going to show you. It does exactly that. It tests the market, and then we get a no supply test, and then we get the upward move. Now, finally, we'll end up with Qantas. This is a great example of how airlines were very manipulated before the pandemic, and actually this happens all the time. Airline stocks are some of my favorites. So in this case, Qantas shares dipped, and they went up to 90% loss. Now, when they dipped, we had green indicators all over it, right? So that doesn't make sense, does it? Everyone, you saw the look at the face of that guy, right? Look at him. Does he look happy? No. And if you play the video, which I won't, but we had a video there, everyone's telling you it's terrible. But that's where the buyers came in. They went, yeah, we like it at that price. A 2-bar reversal, a bottom reversal, and accumulation. So one of the things we teach, and I'm going to be doing some mentorship courses during October on a one-to-one basis, is exactly this. Accumulation zones and distribution zones. It works every time because you have to reprogram your mind. I'm sorry, that's how it has to work. Then suddenly, unbelievably, in 2015, I'm in Australia when there's a underlying performance in the 2015 calendar year was the best in its 95-year history with underlying profit. Hold on a second, I thought it was just about to go bust in 2008. So suddenly we got this. And so this guy's saying to me, well, I've just bought 20,000 in Qantas. I went, well, hold on, let me look at the chart. Oh my goodness. You bought the top. What do you mean, Gavin? I said, you bought the top. And that's the end of a rising market, which I'll teach you. And then it was followed by no demand, which means there's no interest because they've already sold, and it went. So this is how the markets work, how they tick, which is our webinar today. It's the herd, the group, which represent probably 95% of traders, and the smart money, which, you know, I'm talking about retail now, but the smart money control markets and how they know exactly how you think. You get to, you buy on good news, you're euphoria, I'm so happy I brought that, it's going to go up. and then it capitulates, and then you sell right at the bottom and it goes up. And you get really peed off about it because you go, I don't get it. And I talked to a guy yesterday that I was doing a mentorship course with, and he said, do you know something about your system, Gavin? He said, it's contrarian, yes, but it does lift the fog. I said, what do you mean the fog? He said, it lifts the fog. The stuff I've been reading, the stuff I've been seeing, the people who say it's on YouTube say it's easy to make money. All my friends haven't experienced that. It's not easy. And you tell it as it is. Why do you do that? Why don't you just go out and say, buy our product and you can be a millionaire next week? I said, because that's not the way I was born. That's not what I do. I tell what I tell, because I wake up each morning and be able to look in the mirror and say, well, at least I've given you the information. So, Richard, I'm going to hand back to you, but that is basically the market manipulation side of the market definitely exists. You can go to marketmanipulation.org and then you can find out a lot more there. Back over to you, Richard.
Great. Well, thanks for that, Gavin. As we can see, market manipulation is alive and kicking. So can you just let me know that you've seen my screen has swapped over? I think it has. The good thing, the good thing about all this is that the one place smart money can't hide their activities is on a price chart, if you know what to look for. And they've been leaving their footprints on the chart. And there's one trading methodology that's able to analyze that activity, and that's volume spread analysis, as we've been talking about. Now, VSA builds on the pioneering work of Richard D. Wyckoff, a famous Wall Street trader in the 1900s. And he based his trading decisions on supply and demand in the markets and how they're inextricably linked to professional activity. Wyckoff's principles are still taught at the Golden Gate University in San Francisco as part of the finance degree. Now, in the 1960s, Tom Williams traded in a trading syndicate in Beverly Hills, and he studied the Wyckoff method. And over the years, he further developed and refined the approach, which he called volume spread analysis. And when he retired from the syndicate, he computerized the methodology. Tom was, until his passing a few years ago, he was honorary chairman of the company. Now, VSA looks at the interaction between three variables on the chart, as Gavin has been talking to about. And does that to determine the balance of supply and demand, as well as the probable near-term direction of the market. Now, those three variables are volume, the amount of volume on a price bar, the price spread or range of that bar, and finally, the closing price on the spread of that bar. Now, for the correct analysis of volume, you need to realize that volume on its own is only half of that picture. The other half is found in the range of the bar, i.e. how the market moved on that volume. Now, the effect is either bullish or bearish, according to the prevailing market conditions. The smart money operating in the markets are very much aware, as Gavin has said, of your emotions and the emotions that drive uninformed traders and investors. And they very well play to these things, and they do it ruthlessly. So you've got to remember one of Tom's favorite sayings, and one of his favorite sayings is that the charts never lie. So enough PowerPoint, let's move on to some actual charts. And I want to bring back Gavin, who will take you through some of the basics of VSA and how it follows the footprint that the smart money leave on the chart. Gavin, if you want to bring up some live charts or continue with the basics of VSA.
Yeah, absolutely. So I've got plenty of charts, but we're just, we're okay for time. We've got 15 minutes. So I'm going to do Bitcoin first. So we have, as many of you know, an asset management division, which I head, based out of Gibraltar. And we trade multiple instruments. We've got a crypto desk there that looks at cryptocurrencies, and that's what I've been looking at. And, you know, I've been seeing all the negative news on crypto in the last 2 months, and then I've been seeing all the buyers coming in. So I'm aware of it, and then we need to take advantage of it. It's the same with certain stocks. So we have a scanning service that works. Richard, how many stocks do we scan around the world? I think it's 53,000, but I don't know if there's an update on that. I mean, it's a scanning service that finds these setups, but how many stocks do we cover?
At least 53,000. cryptocurrency alert.
Yeah, now you're seeing these alerts coming in now. I've got my alerts going on right now. So these are based on an Amazon server. So it doesn't affect your computer at all. It scans, it looks for, in this instance, we're looking at crypto. I've been getting multiple alerts on different time frames for Bitcoin. I did a webinar a few days ago where I said Bitcoin was going to go to 27,000. You can go and look at it. It was all time stamped on YouTube, so there's no issues there. But the thing is, these alerts are based on a scanning system that was developed by Grigory Margolin, our Chief Technology Officer, and myself and Tom when he was alive. And the reason they work is very straightforward, is they look at numbers. And do you know something? Everything in life works around numbers. Fibonacci retracement levels, trend lines, you know, we're all mathematically driven. We don't even know it. But actually we are. So everything's a numbers game. You know, mathematicians seems to do particularly well. But there's other things that interest me about charts, and that is what I call trigger numbers. Now, all of these things here are built into the system that we developed, so they're automatic. So the biggest problem, I said to Tom when I first met him and he was teaching me to trade, I said, look, Tom, with all due respect, we're spending 6 to 8 hours trolling through all these charts, and then we might get lucky and find a trade setup on one where we've missed 10. He said, yeah, I know, Gav. That's what he used to call me. He said, I know, Gav. He said, I don't know what to do about that. And I said, well, you invented it. I said, well, I tell you what, looking at this, it's a bit like being a bit of a detective. I said, you know, if you've got numbers to each indicator that you've got, and there's 361, I think, or something, I don't know the exact number, in the main Smart Center software that we have, surely we could program a sequence of events that determine that the market's about to change behavior. And the changing of behavior is exactly what it does, as I'm about to show you. And we did it, we tested it, and it worked. It had to work because it's based on supply and demand. We're not trying to apply a mathematical formula. We're looking at ultra high volume, followed by low volume into the same area, followed by a bounce up if you're going to go long, so a breakout, or a bounce down, which is a breakdown, which I call a gotcha bar. And it's all in the 2 books that I've written. So it's not a secret. We're not making, there's no secrets. We don't have secrets. But Tom told me that. He said, well, I don't have secrets, Gavin. And I said, well, why did you call your first book The Undeclared Secrets That Drive the Stock Market? And he looked at me and said, yeah, you got a point. I said, well, yeah, we're not holding anything back. Our mission is to help others to learn to trade. Okay, that's what we do. That's how we make our money. We're fine with that. And there is no secrets. But so here, let's look at this. So we've got all these alerts coming in at the moment, and lots of them, as you can see here, Bitcoin, I can keep going. There's Litecoin. You've got all of these. Now, some of you will say, well, there's Bitcoin again. I don't trade crypto. Don't worry. I'm going to show you it in other things. But we go here to the Bitcoin chart, and we see on the daily chart the accumulation area. And it starts there, and it bottoms out right there. And we've got 2 signals. And I'm using, in this instance, TradingView, which has only got 6 of our indicators in it, but it works. And you can see that the market here bottoms out because the buyers had stepped in, and now we're in a range in the middle of this bar here. And if it breaks that top at 28, it's going to 30,000. Okay, I'll make that statement very clearly, 20th September at 14:34 UK time. Now, I did the same thing on the euro, and that was interesting. You know, I talked about the euro and what that was going to do. That you can go and check the YouTube video, but I want to keep it to 45 minutes. So we've then got quite a few other things going on. So if I put up gold, right? Now, I'm going to answer Dan's question, who emailed me personally, and you're going to be on the, Dan, you're doing the mentorship course with me in 2 weeks, right? That's a 1-to-1. So we talked to you emailed me, and I'm fine with that. That's fine. And you said, oh, Gavin, I just saw you talk about gold going up, but everyone's saying that it's possibly going to go down because the Fed announcement that was upcoming. I said, well, actually, we've got a signal at the bottom, and you can see it's green. Okay, it's got 2 things here. I've got the SMI indicator, which is a smart money indicator, and I've got a green indicator there saying potential professional buying. Let me explain it to you. That is a Wyckoff principle. And Wyckoff was a trader from the 1920s and 30s who studied the markets in great detail. And I've got all of his books, and I've got the Magazine of Wall Street. I've got pretty much all the copies that I could get hold of, and I've read them all. It's a wealth of knowledge. And he talks about the word a spring. A spring. Now, if you consider what a spring is, let's go back to basics here. Everything around us is purely energy, right? We can say it's not, but it's energy. It's moving, right? And the markets do exactly that. They have a kinetic energy. And a springboard, as Wyckoff would have called it, or, you know, the Bob Evans, I think, used the word jumping the creek. Whatever you want to call it, it's an energy that's built up to push price higher. And this is going higher, okay? I've no doubt about it. But the reason is the market falls, and look at the volume increasing as it falls, right? So if that's all selling volume, and we've got a green indicator, not a red one on that, how can it close near the high with the next bar up? And now they're testing it. And now if it breaks the top of that bar, this is where I'm looking to get long again. I'm already long, but 1960. I'm giving you this because it'll be good information for you to go and follow through on. And then, you know, we've talked about Bitcoin. There's a great example here, which I like, which was a stock that had really bad news about it. This is the Gates, but I'll put the daily chart on because that's probably more obvious. All right. And so you had an earnings report here. Okay. And the earnings were good. All right. And the market's going up. And you say, oh, I'm going to buy. Yep. Yeah, that's good. My broker's on the phone. Hey, have you seen Gates Industrial? Because I got an email from I'm on quite a few databases. Have you seen the earnings from Gates? Oh my goodness, this is going to go up to the moon. I thought, uh-oh. It's in an uptrend, the stochastic long, candlestick long, MACD long. It's closed on the low. I'm not going to do anything. I'm going to wait, and it gapped down. And the PB came in, the buyers came in at the low. Why? Why would you buy at 14 when you could buy at 11.60? But no one understands that, including brokers. With respect to brokers, I mean that really well, because they're not giving you advice to buy or sell. They're just executing your orders. But I do know that all the brokers at ActivTrades are very aware of volume spread analysis, which is great. And if they get a question like this, and should I buy, they just knock them over to the website and say, well, have a look at the chart. The chart does not lie, right? That was buying, it was accumulation, and for the last few days, it's gone up. But go to a weekly chart, which is what I use, okay, and then you see it very clearly right there, okay? Now, you might say I'm cherry picking charts. You can put, if we have time, I can put any chart in. But with my one-to-one mentorship, which I'm doing in October,
Forex Trade Alert,
we can look at anything that you want to look at. So, and that means in any market. So I have access to every market in the world, okay, because I'm a professional trader. So I've got data for every market pretty much in the world. There's not much I don't see. And whether it's in TradingView or you know, another platform, ActivTrades, for instance, MT5, we can teach you. Now, the key part of this whole thing is I'm trying to teach you about volume. And is
Forex Trade Alert.
There is a thing on my computer. It's a sticky note, and it's written in big black writing. And I've kept it for years because Tom and I wrote it, and it still manages to stick. I don't know how. And it says volume is activity. Be aware what's going on. That's what it says, and it's exactly correct. And it has to be, because I'm just saying to myself, what's going on. Now, to finish off with silver, I've already talked to you about, but we've put up a monthly chart of 12 months of silver, and you can see that I'm telling you exactly the truth. When the Hunt brothers cornered it, and that was years ago, it's never gone above that price. And our indications on the yearly charts prove it. So this has to be true. The British pound, big buyers.
Cryptocurrency alert.
Yeah, and I'm getting quite a lot of alerts. But today on the pound, Rishi Sunak's coming out at 4 o'clock, our Prime Minister, to say we're going to turn round what we said about our green emission gases and what we're going to do. The market plummeted on that news, but the buyers stepped in. Now, someone might ask me, well, okay, that's a 1 hour chart. It's clearly got massive volume. How could you trade that? Well, you go to do what I did, 15-minute, first of all. Okay, look at the 15-minute chart. Same confirmation, right? Buyers. And I hope you're getting this now. And 5-minute chart. Okay, we've got the massive buying, the testing, and then everything turns green in the system, and it's still going up. That's live. That's not a PowerPoint. That's real. And the best way to teach people, in my opinion, is to do live chart analysis, show what you're seeing. That was the elephant in the, I think they call it the gorilla in the room, or the elephant leaving the footprint. I don't really care. That is how markets move. Supply and demand, cause and effect, effort versus result. And that's what we can teach you. And we can turn you into, I hope, an intelligent, I'm not going to say profitable because I don't know, but an intelligent trader that understands how the markets really tick. Over to you, Richard.
All right, thanks very much for that, Gavin. And we'll be showing a lot more of those chart example as we go through the remaining sessions. And we'll teach you how to trade Forex using Tom Williams' favorite trading approach. Now, talking of Tom Williams, he wrote an explosive book called Master the Markets. The book exposed the workings of the market and showed how all markets really work. And it revealed for the first time the reasons why so many traders lose. It also lays out how the volume spread analysis methodology is able to detect the smart money, the winners, and enable you to trade in harmony with them. And it's a really great book to read, and it's had millions of views throughout the world. And it sells on our website for $49. But today I can offer it as a PDF to all people who attended and registered for this event. And you can get it by going to this address. You can download and print the PDF with our compliments. Now, our next session is on Wednesday, October the 4th. And at that event, we're going to show you a smarter way to trade. So join us then. In the meantime, thanks to Gavin and Vikesh for joining me today, and thanks to you all for attending the event. Please do download the book, and we look forward to seeing you at the next event. So from us, it's goodbye. Enjoy the rest of your day.